Welcome to Reddit After Hours. This is r/am I the butthole, where OP proves to an entire family that their daughter is not actually nonverbal like they think she is. Our first Reddit post comes from Throwaway KASD, titled, "Am I the butthole for not laughing when my husband joked about my hobby job in front of his boss?" My husband was invited to a work dinner at his boss's house, and his whole office was invited. My husband has a higher paying job than mine, and it doesn't really bother me because I love what I do, but he does lack interest in my work because of it. The first iffy thing was when we were getting ready. He gave me a quote check or something, like where he gave me the rundown of dinner etiquette. I know dinner etiquette. My parents used to host this kind of dinner all the time. So yeah, I know how to act and I know how to behave. All of his coworkers were going to the dinner and they brought their wives with them, so it was pretty packed. Dinner was nice until the dessert portions, where my husband and his coworkers started talking about their wives and their hobbies. My husband brought up my quote hobby. I'm a journalist. I write stuff once in a while. He talked about some of the stuff that I've written and described it as silly. I didn't say anything and just smiled awkwardly, but he just kept going, saying that he doesn't read my stuff because he, quote, doesn't want to be all up in my head. When we got home, I talked to him about the jokes and I said that I didn't find them funny, but rather somewhat offensive and disrespectful towards my work. He told me to just learn how to take a joke. I tried to ignore it, so I just kept doing my thing, but then he started to get handsy. And of course, I rejected his advances because I was still sour about the dinner thing and he got upset. So we went on and on about the dinner thing. I wasn't even addressing him making fun of me. I was generally upset over the hobby thing because it's not a hobby. It's my line of work, which I love and am very passionate about. He admitted to maybe being in the wrong for the jokes, but that they were, quote, based on fact. I grew up significantly wealthier than him for context. I do not leech off my parents, nor do they send me money out of free will. My parents have never said or done anything to make him feel inferior, and they actually get along very well. We met when I was going through some sort of a hippie phase, actually. I wasn't talking to my parents at the time, and I did not get along well with them at the time. I was somewhat in a magic pixie dream girl phase at the time, and I think he got way too attached to that version of me. For context, I was 25 at that time, and I'm 32 now. He called me dull and compared me to my mom, which isn't bad in and of itself, but he said it as an insult and said that I was becoming a stubborn mom. We have a son, and he's 2 now. I feel like he doesn't really appreciate me as a person or care about me as much as a husband should for his wife. I get what he's saying, but I'm getting older. I'm a mom, and I'm advancing in my career and have a lot on my plate apart from that. I do love my husband. I married and started a family with him for a reason, but maybe I took the joke too seriously. I'm not sure if I just blew it up out of proportion because I asked friends and they said that maybe I took it too seriously. Am I the butthole? Yeah, OP, I absolutely don't think you're blowing this out of proportion. Like, seriously, your husband is trying to look cool in front of all his coworkers and boss by demeaning and talking bad about his own wife. Like, really? Does that really make you feel good as a husband? Does that really make you feel bigger? Like, that's something that I think is unacceptable. Our next Reddit post comes from Obviously Traumatized, titled, "Am I the butthole for playing a voice recording to prove to my friend that her daughter is not nonverbal?" So I, a 30-year-old female, have a friend who's 34 that has a, quote, nonverbal daughter who's 3 years old. Let's call her Allie. I watch her 4 days out of the week in my in-home daycare. No, I require contracts for every child, and she never filled out the special needs section. And at no point when she asked me to take Allie did she mention any type of speech delay or non-speaking issue. Although Allie didn't speak much at first, I just kind of figured that she was shy. She communicated her needs to me very well and said small things to me frequently. Last month, I was in the bathroom. For context, I keep the door barely cracked with a wedge so I can listen for any dangers and they can't walk in on me or see me. She walked by and said, quote, "Ew, you stinky." I laughed and told her mom at pickup about what she said, and I was met with, quote, "She isn't verbal. Why would you mock her?" I reassured her that Allie has spoken to me quite a few times and that I thought it was a huge milestone from when she first arrived and was barely saying anything. She told me that she didn't believe me and that it was messed up that I would make up something like that to upset her. I told her that I wasn't trying to upset her, but I also wasn't lying to her either. However, I didn't press the issue any further. Here's where I might be the butthole. I decided to record Allie on a voice recorder, not recording her face, telling me her name and what her favorite animal is. Note that I had full intention of showing mom the recording, but I was scared at first because of her blowing up at me and didn't know how she would react. Now, after a few short pickups and drop-offs, she told me that it was water under the bridge and that she didn't want to talk about it anymore. She even insisted that I went to the birthday party for her. After that, I was just happy that Allie could continue, and I ended up forgetting that I had the recording at all. Now, fast forward to Friday, about a month later. She had the birthday party for her other child. At the party, I was socializing with other family members, and honestly, I'm a total idiot for forgetting that her family fully thought that she was nonverbal too. I mentioned the funny things that Allie has said to me while we were reading an animal book. Turns out the person that I was talking to was her sister, and she started yelling at me saying, quote, "She is nonverbal. Why are you lying?" Both her and her sister started berating me and saying that it's effed up that I'm making this up about Allie being verbal. At this point, I'm tired of being called a liar. I have 2 disabled children whom my son was nonverbal for many years. I wouldn't lie about something like this. So while everyone was staring at me and I was scared and felt backed into a corner, I remembered that I had this recording. I decided to prove my case and played the voice recording. Everybody was in shock and my friend just told me to leave. I told her that I didn't want to cause issues, but I'm not going to be berated and called a liar. She said that I crossed a line recording her daughter and that I'm a butthole for embarrassing her at her party. Now I feel horrible and I'm wondering if I should have just let it go. Am I the butthole? OP, definitely not the butthole. You did exactly what anyone else would do. You recorded and got proof of the statement that you were making because everyone else was calling you a liar. And then when they decided to continue calling you a liar, you showed them the proof. And if you're the mother, why are you mad at that? I agree that if she's nonverbal and now she's talking and saying things, that's a huge milestone. You should be psyched and happy that your daughter is making progress, not angry. So yeah, OP, definitely not a butthole. This family's behavior just doesn't make any sense to me. Our next Reddit post comes from Amphibian Bulky 2296, titled, "Am I the butthole for making my sick husband clean up his vomit?" Throwaway account. So my husband has been dealing with a stomach bug of some kind for the last few days. Vomiting, diarrhea, nausea, etc. I've been taking care of him and the house and kids by myself because of this, which is a lot of work with 2 under 5 years old. This morning, my husband wanted to try eating something, so I made him toast as requested. As he was on the couch nibbling on his breakfast, I was making our toddlers their breakfast and feeding them when I hear him violently gagging in the other room. He had been hanging out in the living room during his entire illness, so he's had a trash can in there in case he had to puke or anything else. I called out to him to remember to use it or to go to the bathroom if he thought that he was going to vomit. He didn't listen and he threw up all over the floor and got some on the couch. My husband then comes into where I'm feeding our kids and said that he's going to go to our room so that I can clean up his puke. I said, absolutely not. There was really no reason for him to vomit all over the floor, so he needed to take care of it. I had been cleaning it up all weekend already without complaining when he was getting sick by surprise, but has plenty of time to prepare for this and not make a mess. My husband is now all mad at me for not showing him good bedside manners. Am I the butthole? For one, that is super nasty. If I were you and I walked in the living room and saw that he had puked all over the floor, I might just throw up myself. But either way, OP, just like you said, he's been in there for how long? Like, he could have used the trash can at the very least. Now, like, I would love to give him the benefit of the doubt, though, and hope that he wouldn't just, puke on the floor just for the hell of it, But who knows? Either way, OP, I definitely don't think you're the butthole here. Our next Reddit post comes from Perfect Effect 9213, titled, "Am I the butthole for telling my sister I won't be her maid of honor because she didn't come to my wedding due to her dog dying?" So I, a 28-year-old female, got married last year. It was a small but beautiful ceremony with our closest family and friends. My older sister, who's 32, and I have always had a complicated relationship. We're close, but she's also extremely emotional and kinda dramatic. She was supposed to be my maid of honor. 2 days before the wedding, though, her 14-year-old dog passed away unexpectedly. I was obviously sympathetic, but she called me sobbing, saying that she couldn't emotionally handle coming to the wedding because she was too devastated. I tried to talk her down, even offered to have someone bring her home early if it was too much, but she refused and she didn't show up. Honestly, it hurt a lot. She missed one of the biggest days of my life and I had no maid of honor. We didn't talk much after that. A few months ago, she got engaged and just last week asked me to be her maid of honor. I told her that I couldn't. I said that I still feel hurt that she missed my wedding, and while I love her, I just couldn't pretend like everything was fine. She got extremely upset and said that I was being cold and petty, and that her dog was like her child. Our parents are now pressuring me to just be the bigger person. I honestly don't know anymore. Am I the butthole for saying this? OP, yes, I absolutely think you're being the butthole here. Holding on to a grudge because someone didn't go to your wedding because their literal dog died. Come on. A lot of people consider their furry friends as an actual family member and they bond with those, pets so much throughout the years. And if she's already an emotional person, it's very reasonable to think that she might be bedridden with grief for a few days and not go to your wedding. Just be happy that it wasn't your dog that died and maybe try to let this one go. That was Reddit After Hours, bringing you r/Am I the Butthole. Thank you all so much for listening, and if you like these videos, like and subscribe as we post a new Reddit video almost every single day.